everybody, I'm Allison. Welcome to my channel. This is Flosstube number 24. The channel is officially 2 years old. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is the video where I go through all of I've got cross stitch, quilting, embroidery, a whole bunch of stuff. I go through everything, show you what I've been working on, talk about what's going on with our animals, and actually today at the very end, I'm going to do a personal update. I don't think in the 2 years I've had this channel I have ever done a personal update, but we have some things going on, so I'm going to talk about that at the end. So if you care, watch. If you don't, that's fine. If you're here for the crafts, let's dive right into the crafts. We're going to start with the quilt behind me, which I can't believe I've never shown. I made this quilt, I finished this quilt spring of 2021. This was an AccuQuilt quilt along with Blue Feather Quilts. She used to have a Facebook page. I think the page is long since gone, and it was called Broken Dishes. The fabric line is Homestead by Moda. The designer's April Rosenthal. I actually ended up really liking this fabric, and I bought a bunch of it. I recently found it in my closet in a nice container, so I've got a whole bunch of this fabric left. This was all done on, let me get a good look at it. I think this was all done on my original sewing machine, which was a little Brother Project runway machine. I've since given that to my mom. She uses that, but this has got straight line quilting on it. Nothing fancy. We're going to dive right into, cross stitch. And just to let everybody know, if you're here for the tutorials and you don't want to watch this, don't watch it. Please don't unsubscribe, but more tutorials always coming. I do edit my videos. I've got a couple of dogs sitting behind me. We've had a lot of rain recently, and there's a lot of landscapers in the neighborhood, and people's giant cactuses and trees are falling over. The ground is so wet. I'm going to make a note. I'm going to add a video at the end of the weather, because our house is in an area where there's a lot of washes, and we actually have a wash that runs under the house. I've got some great video of that. So we'll go ahead and add that. Let's start with quilting. I actually have finishes, whips, half finishes. I do have a couple of my charts I'd like to show. Let me show those really quick. I just piled up a few. I have a little Etsy shop. I'll put it on the screen. We use the money to help with our rescue animals. This is the time of year where everybody's doing Halloween and fall stitching. I think that's the most kind of charts that I have. So I've got Boo Squared. These are all really easy charts. I include pictures and talk about the finishing with everything. They're all PDF downloads. This is Happy Hedgy Ween. I have a video on my channel. I'll link it below. It's a video tutorial showing you how to do the flat fold finish. So if you want to learn how to do that, I'll put that up. The Seasons Squared series. This is Fall Seasons Squared. And if you like to decorate for the holidays and only want to decorate once, Happy Hollow Thanks, Miss. And then what is probably, I think this is probably my most popular chart, and I think it's also my biggest chart. Hello Fall. And this is actually on top of the frame. And again, finishing it, instructions and information are included. I can hear Libby snoring behind me, so if you hear a weird noise, it's Libby. Let's start with, I've got like piles, so I'll just start with the piles, no particular order. Start, finish, and FFO since last time. This is Squirrely Girl by Stitching with the Housewife. Called for color, except for I substituted out one of the browns. I didn't have, it was called Harvest Wheat or something. It's Classic Colorworks. I used Wagon Wheel instead. I literally just finished this morning. I'm going to show you the back. I was going to close it and make it all pretty, but I figured I'd show it first. It's a regular embroidery hoop. I stained it, glued on some pom-poms. The little ribbon is in case I want to hang it. And then if you don't want to hang it, I'll probably put it on that little bookshelf I showed quite a while ago. I should show it again, that my husband made. I think this will fit in there. But what I did with this, before I put it in the hoop, there's black fabric. So I laid my chalkboard black Ada, I laid the piece on top of a piece of black fabric and then put them both in the hoop. Because if you want to finish it where you put batting and then a piece of felt, but you've stitched on chalkboard black Ada, you'll see the white through the Ada. That's why there's a piece of fabric there. And then you can see the hot glue. I just hot glued it down to keep it in place. So if I want to is the key, go back and finish it and make this pretty, I can put some batting in here and glue on a piece of felt or a piece of fabric, but honestly, knowing me, it's done and it's going to hang up. If you're interested in watching me do this type of finish or you want a video on that, let me know. Put in the comments below. I have a lot today. I also have Flosstube friends to thank too. I'm also way behind on watching Flosstubes, which I'll talk about. Personal update, that's why. Here's my Prairie Schooler Santa. I got the frame on Amazon. All finished. This is the first one I've ever stitched. I didn't put the details on the back. It's 14 count. I believe it's called Parchment Paper by Fabric Flare with a called for DMC. There's a little frame. I think the hardest part about the Prairie Schooler Santa was all of this fill. This just, like this bottom piece, I think took me a week because I don't always have a lot of time to stitch. But once you get the fill done, the rest of it went really fast. That came out really nice. So those are the two FFOs. I have a finish. I'm going to hold it up. This is the Candy Cane Coupe by Stitching with the Housewives. It's on 14 count Fabric Flare Peppermint Candies. You can see the peppermint candy in the background. The fabric was just to hold it into the Q-snap because the piece of Ada wasn't quite big enough for the Q-snap. I'm going to have a finishing video for this, a tutorial. I thought of a really, really fun way to finish this. All my supplies are here. It involves some painting and it's been really humid, so this had to wait. Hopefully we're done with the crazy weather and I can get this one going. This came out really nice. The one thing I noticed is it's hard to see the white, like on the roof, on the gingerbread house and in the peppermint candies. Instead of white, maybe I should have done a bright white. That one is all done. Also, finished and FFO in progress. I don't have the chart out. I put the chart away already. I stitched these on 25 count shadow even weave in the called for colors, the Sweetheart ornaments. These are the little ornaments from Fat Quarter Shop. I'll put all the chart information below, but I have all of them done. It took me long enough, didn't it? If you've been watching for a while, you've been seeing these, I don't know how many floss tubes, but I'll show them all really quick. They're really tiny. They go really fast. I believe they're 30 by 30. I still haven't figured out what this is. Ice cream, cupcake, I have no idea. Probably ice cream. Couple more, we're almost to the beginning. Camera, little heart, conversation heart. And I did these as part of an ornament sal with the Stitching Owl. She did a lot of really cute ornaments and she does very creative finishing with beads. I'm putting these on Tart tins, and over here, I just brought the tray. It's a heavy wooden tray. The Tart tins are white. They come from Fat Quarter Shop. I've spray painted them pink. I don't want to tilt this completely up and down because they'll all slide. And I spray painted them outside in our yard. I put down newspaper and it was windy that day. And I was spray painting them in the area we call the dog park, which has artificial grass, and I got pink spray paint on the grass, so there's this rectangle of pink spray paint on the grass. My husband bought some stuff to take the paint off. I just haven't got to it yet. And there's, let's see, 3, 6, there's 12 of these. And all 12 of them, you know, it doesn't look the best on the back, but they all dried nice and clean, no problems, except for one that got stuck to the newspaper. So there you go. And these come with, let me show you, it's going to make a little crinkle. This kind of tie. They all had a little tie on the top. And I took these off so I could spray paint them. And I haven't decided if I want to put these back on yet and then do a ribbon like I did with the cookie cutter ones I did for Christmas. This is the ribbon that I have. Or if I want to use the ribbon as the hanging tie and do something a little bit different. But these are on my list to FFO. Let me slide this off to the side. And I've got some work in progress items. Let's look at those. Very happy to say Beatrice of the Chicken Club is finally getting some attention. This is number 4 of 12. I started these when they came out, 2023 it says. I have the first 3 actually FFO'd and on display. And I bought enough frames to finish all of them because I knew I wouldn't stitch them all really fast. I'm stitching these with the called for DMC on 14 count fabric flare chicken wire. Here's my chicken. Looking really good. Made quite a bit of progress on that. So this is the one I'm kind of working on right now. And let's look at Halloween rules. Been picking at that one for a while. Oh goodness. Stuff all over. It's a little hectic today. I didn't even dry my hair. My hair's wet, so sorry if it looks horrible. I'm working on Lizzie Kate's Halloween rules. This is big. This is going to be a multi-year project. I finally got the very top part done. Here we go. That took me forever. I don't know why. But I've got this on a little scroll frame. I'll look up the information on the scroll frame and leave it below. I think they still sell it. It came from Amazon. And I'm stitching this on 16 count Vintage Country Mocha Ada. This isn't even technically one of the charts. You get this from the Lizzie Kate website. These are all the charts. You can see how much I have to do. Maybe Halloween next year, I'm not sure. And I was gifted these charts from a Flosstube viewer, so thank you. Let me put that in its bag. I'm working on one called Cycling Fun, Bothy Threads. It's really big. I've made absolutely no progress. We'll just leave that in its bag. It's kind of a pain to take out. And I did pull for another new start. And this came from a Flosstube viewer. Let's see, I have to fold it because the chart is all on one page. Graciously sent me this chart. This is Fall Feathers, Little House Needleworks. This was released with their fall thread pack, probably last year. I've had it sitting there for a while, so that's the entire chart. I'm going to stitch the chicken, the flowers, the little mound, and then instead of this, I'm going to take these flowers and mirror them and stitch them over here. So I'm just going to have that little piece there. I really like the chicken. I've completely changed the colors. I pulled Classic Colorworks. These are the colors I'll be using. I'm trying to see if it's showing on camera. If it's not in focus or centered, sorry, I can't see anything when I'm behind the paper. And I've got it pulled. And get ready because it's not 14 count. I always stitch on 14 count most of the time. I'm stitching on this DMC Focus 28 count Monaco. I think I've stitched one thing on this before. I don't know what color this is. Tea-dyed. There it is. It's on the back. So it's DMC 28 count Monaco. In one of my project bags. I have some project bags left in the shop. Not as many. Let me just say, side note, postage is getting really, really expensive. So there hasn't been a lot of new stuff added to the shop, and because of all the videos and everything I've been filming, and also what's going on here at home. Here's the colors. I forget which color I picked for the chicken. Instead of stitching it, they stitch it in black. Oh, I picked Wagon Wheel. I stitched the, or I picked the kind of a brown. We've got chickens out back who are all doing very well, by the way. So my chicken's going to be brown. This is what the 28 count tea dye looks like. It's not, it doesn't actually have like modeling on it. It's a solid color. So it's a nice color brown. I've got that ready to go. Let's look at a little bit of haul, like a little bit. I can't remember if I showed this last time. It's been a while, but let me put this back. Let me forget it. My mom gave me this. She has a subscription to this. I think most channels have shown this already, but my favorite, and I'm probably not going to have time to stitch it, but I just thought I'd show it. This one's really cute with the little dog and the ghost. That one's my favorite. I'm looking at the back. There's an ad for Mill Hill. Look at the otter. Super cute. I have a Mill Hill kit on my shelf. I think I've had it for 3 or 4 years. It's this little tiny turtle. I still haven't done it. It's on the I need to try it list along with the Biscorno. I think I have 3 of those on my shelf. Set Z, the Lori Holt stitch cards. I've been getting these as they've been released. I don't think I know I've stitched one. I stitched the pumpkin in one of them, and that may even be it. Fat Quarter Shop is going to do something with these. I don't know what, and I don't know if they've made the official announcement. I just remember hearing that they were going to do something with these. I think it's going to be next year. I am way behind on any type of videos, Flosstube videos. I've got some Flosstube thank yous I'll go over. I know I've been mentioned, and I need to catch up. I have a new punch needle to work on. This is the Kimberbell Happy Holly Days punch needle. If you've ever wanted to do punch needle, the Kimberbell kits are great. They're very easy, and I have videos on my channel. I have a whole playlist for punch needle. I think there's only 4 videos on it, but I'll link that below and you can check it out. I have one that actually walks you through all the different kinds of stitches, and if you watch that, it's punch needle with me, and I show the one with the little ladybugs, and you'll learn all the stitches you need to do this kit. They send the kits now with the monk's cloth pre-printed, so you don't have to trace it on a light box, and it's on pre-stretched canvas. It's ready to go. So once you punch, you're done. You're finished with it. You don't have to do anything. And then in the little bag, they did change the bags. I think it was a matter of cost. They had these really fancy handle vinyl, thick vinyl bags. I think they were just getting too expensive. You get all your yarn. You get your punch needle, the needle threader, and down here is the holly berry and the felt leaves. So there's some red beads and the felt leaves. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. Before we move on to other things, Jingle Ball, I know that's coming up. I don't know if I'm going to go this year. It's going to be just time, if I can fit it in and what's going on. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on going. If not, I don't know if is anybody interested in doing like a Google Meet or a Zoom or something, and we all just stitch and like do a meet and greet. Let me know if people are interested. I can try to arrange that. Leave me a comment or email me at azfamilyzoo@gmail.com. I'll put that on the screen. Let's look at something coming up for quilting. Socialites. I did the Socialites 2 a couple years ago. I didn't do the first one, but Socialites 3 is coming next year, February. I'll put links below if you're a quilter. Fat Quarter Shop came out with the general information, and they're going to do 3, 6, and 9-inch blocks. I'm going to be easy on myself and do the 9-inch blocks. They give some good information showing different fabric lines, what it looks like. I don't know if I necessarily like the way it's laid out, and it's always really interesting because people will come up with different layouts for these. So we'll see what happens. They have a Facebook group too, Socialites Facebook group. Here's a quick peek at all the blocks. There are a couple of these, and this happened last year when I looked at them. And you know, they're all extremely well done, but some of them, sometimes you look at a quilt block and it just doesn't really speak to you. There's a couple I might switch out. Here's a good picture of the quilt. I did pull my fabrics. I went into my overflowing, I have to be careful when I pull stuff out of it because it'll fall on me, fabric closet. And I have not been buying fabric since I started doing long arm quilting. Instead of my full-time pharmacy job, I pretty much stopped buying anything, and it's great. Now I'm actually getting to use everything. I found some laundry basket quilts fabric. I'm not taking it out of the plastic because it's a big bundle. This is called the Seamstress. I need to pull it out and starch it. Really nice colors. I may not use all the colors. I may just do the greens, kind of the aqua, and there's pink in here too. The pink's kind of hard to see, and the pink I may leave out. There's some, like, I'm not a big navy blue person. There's some navy blues and sky blues. I may leave out the blue completely. And then this is the Cloud 9 set for background. I'm going to do scrappy backgrounds. And this is pinks and blues. So that's the pink side. And there's some blue. I'll have to look at it and kind of look at what the quilt looks like, and I'll probably starch all of that and do what I did with Socialites too. I just pulled stuff as I did each block, and I really didn't worry about it. One thing I'll say, if you're going to do this, when I did Socialites too, I picked a background. It had flamingos, and they either went up or down. So when I made my quilt blocks, it had to go a certain way because it went up and down, not side to side. So I had to be careful with flipping the fabric. Don't pick a directional fabric. That was a big headache. Let's put this down. Scratch my nose. Off camera. Hopefully. I'll find out when I go to edit. I've got a ton of stuff that I made during tutorials to share with everybody. Socialites 3. Wrote that down. Let's go over some fun stuff. I just put up a video for these. This is, I've got on a little tray, a Hoop Studio kit from Kimberbell. You can get it. You make these on your embroidery machine. It has this little, I don't know if that's going to stand up. I'll lean it there. It's called Beautiful Neighborhood 2. They did one last year. I did not make one. I don't have one. I'm hoping it focuses. Here, let me get closer. There we go. You make the little houses, and I'll hold them up so you can see them in a little more detail. And they light up. A little coughing there, sorry. I will say my houses are not perfect, but they still look really good. There's the front, side. You can see I didn't quite get my roof centered. Back. I do have a full tutorial. If you're into embroidery and you want to know how to put these together, you can watch that. Again, mine are not perfect. I'm never overly concerned with perfection. In fact, one of the things you might have seen on those windows, and you'll see on this window, there are some fuzzy bits poking through the embroidery, and that's because when you get to the step where you're working on the windows, they recommend using a fray product, fray preventative, like Fray Check. And I was filming and I needed to get this done. I didn't want to wait for that to dry, so I've got a little bit of fabric fraying on my houses. Let's light them up. They actually send it to you with little LED lights, so you can put these on display. If they're not perfect, it doesn't matter. They're really cute. Here they are all lit up. It looks cuter if the room is dark, but I'm not going to go pull the shades. There's my little Beautiful Neighborhood 2 houses with the lights on. I hope it shows. Let's see, if I turn the lights off, you'll probably see the difference. Yep, you can see the lights. Okay, good. There you go. There's just those little LED light strands. Really cute. They were a lot of fun to make, except for trying to get the roof on straight. But that's okay. I've got a bunch of Kimberbell and some designs by Juju is another embroidery line. I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Let's move the notes, and I'll just put everything in front of me. There we go. I'm also working on a Halloween quilt. You can see that on my Instagram, and I'm posting tutorials for it on the YouTube channel. I didn't want to bring that in and show all the blocks. It would have just been too much. I made an embroidered, they call it leather, but it's not. It's PVC. It's fake leather. Snap tray. It's got felt on the back that covers the embroidery. I think everybody's used a snap tray, especially if you're a cross stitcher. They're really good for going to retreats because you can pack it flat and then you snap the little corners. And then you have this nice little tray so you can put your scissors and your floss, whatever, in it. Good for quilting too. You can put threads, you know, whatever you want. You can keep one of these by the front door for your keys, dog poopy bags, that kind of thing. But there's that snap tray. I am storing it flat for now. I haven't figured out what to put in it. I actually keep it in my sewing room, and then when I go to use it, I've used it a few times, then I snap it. I've got some small projects. I've got this little mug rug. This was from one of the perfectly pieced kits, and that comes with the fabric and the instructions and all of that. This is actually a mini mug rug. The block for that month was the apple, and you get instructions for 2, 4, 6, and 8 inches. This is probably that's the 4-inch. So I have a little apple mug rug. Like I said, I have a lot because I'm doing these tutorials. If you're new and you're watching for the first time, I'm a Kimberbell affiliate. Some items are provided to me. This was the houses. I'm going to show you some pot holders. Other items I purchase and are not provided to me. We've got some pot holders. These are going to my mom. Hope you like them. These were fun to make. This is Lori Holt cookbook fabric. There is embroidery on there. It's kind of lost in the pattern. My kit came late and I wanted to make these, so I grabbed some fabric from my shelf. One thing I will say, I have big hands, so for me, they're a little bit small. My mom has smaller hands, so these will be probably perfect for her. And then we have the pot holder. This was the fabric that came in the kit. It's a quilted pot holder. It's done on the embroidery machine. This is also going to Mom. This was another kit, and it made a bag. And this kit came with the fabric to make the quilt blocks. So there's a quilt block here. You made 4 quilt blocks, front and back, and then you quilted the borders. And then it came with the straps. It's fake leather again. And I have a video on how to make this. You could actually use fabric or other quilt blocks, so even if you don't embroider, but if you like to sew or you quilt, you can watch the video and see how I construct this and put this together. I also show how to add a bottom. That's a bottom that it actually will come out, but it's a hard bottom so that when you put stuff in it, it doesn't just sink. It gives you a little bit of stability. Also going to Mom. We're going to make a pile for Mom. Mom gets the oven mitts and the pot holder and the bag. That goes to Mom. I think I showed on a previous floss tube I was working on. It's called A Quilty Little Christmas. They're 4 mini quilts. If I showed them last time and I'm showing them again, just fast forward if you don't want to see it. I apologize. I can't remember what I showed at this point. Here's the smallest one. Very cute. I pile things up, and then when I'm done, I go decorate with it or put it where it needs to go. And I had a huge pile, so I'm assuming I didn't show these. And I have ties on these if I want to hang it up, but if not, they're just ribbon. It can just go underneath. Very cute. And there's 4 in this series. They get a little bit bigger. Machine embroidery. And this had what's called an embellishment kit. So ribbon, little buttons that you put on, little special things. You can make them without the embellishment kit. There's another button. If you didn't have the kit, you can embroider this on there. And you see the sparklies, they were part of the kit. You don't have to put them on. There's embroidery underneath. That's just an option. And I put ties on all of these because I have the quilt ladder now. And I think I'm going to tie these all on the quilt ladder. I still have the 4th of July quilt on my quilt ladder, but I should put these up. This one's got a Christmas tree. It's like a fuzzy, I think they call it velveteen. Really cute with the ornaments. I've seen some people make the ornaments and got a hair on there. They put vinyl over them so it makes them look like glass ornaments. I did not have vinyl, so I just did the fabric. Again, I have ties. This one has a nice polka dot on the back. And then we've got one more. This is the biggest one. Oh, I remember doing this one, and I had a huge mistake making this block. But it looks perfect. My mistake actually turned out really well, and I love the way the block turns out. If you're into embroidery and you want to see that, look for this one. I'll link the playlist for these below, and you can watch and see what happens. If you're not into embroidery, it'll make no sense if I spend time explaining it, so we'll just move on. This has a little, is there a button up there? Oh, that was something too about this one. This one actually did have a button in the kit, and I totally spaced it and I embroidered it. So that's what I mean by if you don't have the little embellishment kit, you can make it. It looks really good. Nobody knows. That came out really nice. These all came out really nice. I need to go put these on thread on the quilt ladder and take off the 4th of July quilt. Let's go over, I have 3 things from, it's called Designs by Juju. And let's see. Yep. Let me set that aside. And all of these I purchased. I have 0 affiliation with them, just so everybody knows. And again, my Kimberbell stuff that I show, when there's a tutorial, if you see a little box at the top that says paid promotion, that means they sent me the kit. There's something you check when you post your video. It asks you if there's a paid promotion. If you don't see that, it's something I bought. The Halloween quilt I'm working on right now was not given to me. I purchased that. I have 3 things here. This is called Build a Ballerina. Somebody requested that I make this for the channel, and I cannot give a link to the pattern because they give this as what they call like a freebie, a bonus, where if you buy X amount, you get this for free. So right now it's sitting in the vault. I emailed them and I asked them to see if I could get a link, but I couldn't. So you just have to watch. They rotate about every week or 2 what the bonus pattern is. And when you make this, you can make like the little legs crossed, and then I think the other one is one leg straight and one leg kind of pointed out. Her little skirt has just a bit of lace here. They show it with some tulle. I didn't have any tulle, so I put a little lace on it. And you can see there's buttons. So the parts, you can take everything apart. So if you have somebody you want to give this to, you can make a couple different outfits, and then they could switch out the outfits. It kind of made me think of paper dolls, if anybody had those when they were a kid. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. For now, I'm holding on to it as a demo. One of the goals that I have, probably within maybe the next year or 2, probably more like 2 years with what's going on right now, is I want to start teaching. And we're working on creating a space in our house where more than me could fit. We have a porch that has like just this awful deck that's been falling down since we purchased the house. We were going to repair the deck and the roof needs to be repaired, and we were going to use what's called Trex. It's like fake wood. Trex doesn't warranty in Arizona because of the sun and the heat, and it would have been so expensive. Like we did the cost for just fixing the deck and the roof, and then we thought, well, can we enclose the porch? How much would it be to like make it another room? It's amazing sometimes what things cost, and if you're creative, what you can do. So we're looking at making that into another space. We had an architect sketch everything out and submit it for permits. Then we're going to do all the costs and the comparisons and everything, because the prices of things right now are kind of crazy. we wanted to see what everything would cost versus, you know, making the room versus doing the deck repair. And I think actually making the room may end up being cheaper than repairing the deck with that really expensive stuff. This is a fall mini quilt. I think it's called Fall Petite Wall Hanging. And the fabric line for this is Autumn by Lori Holt. It's a nice little wall hanging. Just something fun to make. And when I made this one, I show in my tutorial how to add background quilting to it because these were just plain blocks and I thought they needed a little bit of something. My little bird has a sparkly eye that I glued on. And this is another one. I put ties on the back. I'm going to cover the tag. It's got some personal information on it. So I can hang this up or I can lay it flat on a table, whatever I want to do with that. That's ready to be displayed. And last but not least, the Halloween mini quilt. This was really fun. This is also designed by Juju. Isn't that cute? All of the quilting in the background and the ghost is glow-in-the-dark thread. So when I turn the lights off, all of this glows in the dark. It's really cute. I really like this. This was a lot of fun to make. If you're an embroiderer, you know, some of these things take a long time to stitch out, so have another project handy you can work on. I need to hang this up, seeing as it's almost Halloween. I haven't put out any decorations. This one I didn't put any ribbons on to hang. I'm not sure why, but I have clips I can hang it up with for display. That is my Halloween mini quilt, and I think that, wow, it's a lot of stuff. I think that's everything. Let me check my list. I'm going to do some Flosstube thank yous and a quick video mention. I made a video with Corey at Linda's Electric Quilters. I'm going to go ahead and link that below. I talked about it. We met at QuiltCon. That was, I'm trying to think. There's a woodpecker out there pecking at the tree. We met at QuiltCon earlier this year and he was so nice and he interviewed me. It's just a really nice chatty video and he has a like crafter's blog. I'll put it on the screen. The name is escaping me at the moment. Crafters Roundtable it's called. And he's got a whole series of videos and mine has the least amount of views. So if you want, check it out. I'd appreciate it. I feel bad because he put in all that time and effort to it. And I told him, I said, I'm a really small channel. I don't know if anybody's going to watch this. And apparently I was correct. So if you want to see an interview with me, and he's very good at talking, like the interview process, very conversational, very easy to talk to. I'd recommend any of his podcast videos. They're really well done. I'll link that below. I talked about the rain. I talked about adding the video at the end. Let's do mentions really quick. I'm just going to read these off. I'll put things on the screen and I'll tag everybody. So if you want to go visit their channel, you can click on it and go right to their channel. These are fellow floss tubers who have mentioned me, are stitching my charts, have done stitch alongs with me, who I probably need to catch up and watch videos. I apologize. I always comment after I watch, so you know I watched. I've got a list. These are in no particular order. We have Stitching with My Littlie, mother and daughter. Really fun to watch, very entertaining. I'll make sure all of these are linked below. The Stitching Owl, who I mentioned, where I'm doing we did the ornament owl this year. Check out her channel. Sincitycrossstitcher from Las Vegas. She's always kind enough to hold up the project bag, and I made her some really fun placemats she showed in one of her videos. JessCraftsStitches, that's Jess. She does a really unique finishing where she can like swap things out and reuse them and some scrapbooking materials. Check her out. We've got the Oakie Stitcher. I know I've got, I think, at least one of hers to catch up on, so sorry, it's on my list. Wendy's Whimsical Stitches. If you like chickens, make sure you follow her Instagram. She's got great chicken pictures. Amnicon Studio, who I owe a big giant thank you, who's always kind enough to watch all my videos and leave me a nice comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And two toe stitchers, the Lizzie Kate thing, I've talked about it before. It just kind of, it is what it is. We did the Lizzie Kate series sale last year, which I did really good with. I did the green series flippets, I think they were called, and I finished that, framed it, and my mom did that as well. And this year I started the Halloween rules, and it just, I don't know, it just kind of dropped off. I really like smalls. Like the chicken club stitch is probably about as big as I really like to go. These bigger stitches I find to be overwhelming, even if they've got little parts. Sometimes it's just a little bit too much. Oh, Mom Stitch. Mom sent me a stitch. Let me bring it up on my phone. I'll share it with you. This is Seasonal Courier, Blackbirds Autumn. This is Robin Pickens. She sent me this. Looking really good. Sorry about the window glare. She finished that one. Really pretty. I like that. She's done a lot of the Robin Pickens birds ones, and I think she keeps them in a scrapbook as she finishes, and then if she wants to FFO, FFO. If not, they just go in the scrapbook, which is a great way to save your stitches. If you want to stitch but don't really like finishing, scrapbook, a nice tote, a nice pretty box, sheet protectors, just keep them, you know, stitch. You don't have to like stain a piece of board and do 1, 2, 3 pieces of sticky board every time you finish something. You can if you want, but you don't have to do that. If you just like to do the stitching, you can stitch and then just keep it. Quick animal update. I may or may not pop up photos depending on how much time I have. The chickens are all doing well. I talked about Phyllis Stiller, the Polish chicken with the crazy hair, a couple times. She's back out, but not really with the chickens, but not with the chickens. They were fighting again. We put her out and they start picking on her. So what we did for Phyllis is we had 2 kind of smaller chicken coops. My husband put them together, so now she's got this big private area, but it's in the bigger chicken area. So she gets to socialize with the other chickens, but they can't pick at her. They were just picking at her and picking on her back, and it was not good. So she's doing really well. She's actually the only chicken right now that's laying eggs, and she lays like the tiniest little eggs. They're smaller than a regular chicken egg, but bigger than a quail egg. They're like golf ball size. They're really cute. She's doing well. The rest of the chickens, I'll do a yard tour and show everybody when it's not so muddy, but the chickens are doing well. The pigs are doing well. Last time I talked about Mikey the tortoise and Sheldon and Max, who were the last 2 of the group. Since then, Max passed away. Same problem. Max stopped eating, went to the vet, did the imaging, all blocked up, internal organs all messed up, tried the medicines, tried all the standard therapy, and Max actually passed away. And it was Max like Maxine. It was a girl, but passed away on her own. She got to enjoy the rain, and then it got sunny, and she was moving around, and we thought she might recover, you know, and just went out one day. She looked like she was sitting in the sun, and she had passed away. So out of that group of tortoises, there is only 1 left. So you kind of get to the point where you just like, oh, it's so frustrating because there's literally nothing you can do. There's absolutely nothing you can do. I talked about it in detail last time. You can go watch. All we can do for the last tortoise that's left is try to give it its best life and hope against hope that it doesn't run into some of the problems. So Sheldon is the last one of that group of 5. Cross your fingers for Sheldon. I'm going to show a picture of Truman. Rather than trying to add pictures, adding pictures takes a lot of time. You can watch this on my Instagram. Let me bring it up for you and I'll show it. Truman's area got flooded, and I've got a great video, and you don't need to have the sound. So I talked about this is an Instagram post, when it starts raining, they tend to come out of their burrows, but this is Truman's area. And we had really serious rain. So he's got a big giant burrow. He goes about 8 feet down. This whole area completely flooded. You can see me pointing to where his burrow is. That's actually where the hole is. The whole entire burrow is filled with water. So we added fencing to keep him away because he kept trying to walk over there even though it was flooded, and we don't want him to, you know, walk down into a hole full of water. So we've got his area blocked off, and we're keeping it blocked off because during the winter they go into these houses. They're heated houses, and that helps keep them nice and warm. They don't go into their burrows in the winter. It gets too cold for them. That's Truman. He's big. He's probably between 60 and 70 pounds. He's one of our biggest tortoises. Let's talk about the dogs. Rosie's fine. I feel bad. I never talk about Rosie because she doesn't have any issues. She's doing well. Libby had a seizure a few days ago. She usually has them about once a month. It's normal for her. She has epilepsy. She's doing all right. Jacqueline, yeah, the vision gets worse, the hearing gets worse. She barks at my husband all the time, so it's about the same. I carry her around all the time. She's about 11 pounds, so I try to make sure I rotate arms so one arm doesn't get stronger than the other. Let me see if I have, oh, here. The dogs are on my screen, and Daisy's still on here. Here's a picture of the dogs if it's your first time watching. Jacqueline, Libby, Daisy, who passed away of heart failure, and Rosie. Those are the dogs. That's all the fun stuff. If you don't want to hear something that's really not so fun, go ahead, turn it off, move on to other things. Although at the very end, I will tack on some videos of the weather. You can just like drag the little slider if you want to see that. I'm going to give a personal update, and again, I don't do this. We're pretty private people, but this is starting to affect how much stuff I get done, especially with cross-stitching. Cross-stitching at night has become a challenge because of Jacqueline. But free time in general, even more, it has become a little more challenging. So we're going to go back to 2023. It is actually about this time of the year, 2023. My husband's struggling with headaches. And, you know, everybody gets headaches every now and then, but usually they go away. Nothing was making them go away. And they were like debilitating, almost headaches. Finally went and saw the doctor. They did an x-ray. And on the x-ray, you know, back of the neck, he had a couple spots, really bright, lighting up. That's not something you want to see on an x-ray. Long story short, and he really had to push and call people and push the insurance because they do, I'm sure anybody who's had a medical issue, prior authorizations, we'll see you in 6 weeks. You know what? No, that's not acceptable. If you're ever in a situation and you're working with your insurance and you're getting put off and put off and put off, you've got to get on it. Call anyone you know. If you've got friends or family who know doctors, any way you can think to keep the ball rolling in your favor and to take care of your personal health, you need to do. So he had to go get it imaged, CT imaging, and then biopsy. And they found, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget, it's called follicular lymphoma. So he has cancer. And he's very lucky that he was pushy and caught it when he did. By the time, oh, there's a cloud going overhead. The lighting probably just really changed. He got this diagnosis and was starting his treatment by the time like the original process started, where they were trying to do the pre-authorization and this, that, and the other, and kind of dragging their feet. And he did do everything correctly, but you gotta get on it. Don't wait. If something is wrong, don't wait. Get in, get treated. So he started being treated for the follicular lymphoma. And he actually had a choice. He had a few, they did like a full head to toe body scan. And it wasn't just, you know, back of the neck, but that's definitely what was causing his headaches. He had several areas that were lighting up. And one of the choices was do nothing, which I didn't understand. And, you know, both of us were like, well, why would you do nothing? And it's because it's a slow growing lymphoma. And everything was really small, and they said you can just wait, which to us made no sense. The other two options were what's called a monoclonal antibody, it's single drug therapy, and then starting chemo right away. So went with the monoclonal antibody. You can look that up if you're interested. Single drug therapy went, you know, fairly well. Didn't make it go away. And in fact, it's never going to go away. The doctor told him this is something that even if at some point your scans are completely clear, it will come back. So this is something you have to deal with for the rest of your life, unfortunately. So he went until, I'm trying to think, about 2 months ago. So almost 2 full years doing okay with just the monoclonal antibody single drug therapy. Then everything started to come back, more stuff on the imaging. So he had to start chemotherapy. If you know anybody who's gone through chemotherapy or who is in chemotherapy, it is extremely hard on the body. We learned about this when I was in pharmacy school, and in order to kill those cancer cells, you also kill good cells. Your blood count gets messed up, everything gets messed up. So he goes through the chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy drug, it's now like a double drug therapy. It has a monoclonal antibody and then a chemotherapy component. And the chemo drug, just like nausea, exhaustion, not feeling well. And I will say this, he handles this so well. He handles this so much better than I could. He just always says, well, you know, it is what it is. We'll just get through it and keep going. One of the things about the chemotherapy drug, you know, before he started, they sent him home with information, and I'm reading this information. It's like, don't share silverware, towels, sheets for 72 hours after he gets the chemotherapy infusion. I basically have to treat him like he has the plague. If he wants to wash something in the sink or wash dishes, he puts on gloves. They tell you when you use the bathroom, for men especially, sit, and then they're supposed to close the lid, flush it twice, wait for it to stop making, you know, the toilet to stop running, and then completely scrub the toilet every time they go to the bathroom. Personal undergarments, you know, wash in sanitary high heat or just throw them out. The medication's what's called cytotoxic. You don't want to deal with unless you have to. So something that kind of illustrates how well I think he's handling it is we've had all this rain lately, and I'm like covered in mosquito bites. I don't know what is with mosquitoes. They love me. I've got mosquito bites everywhere. And he was out there after his chemotherapy treatment, and he said, I should just stand like this and let all the mosquitoes bite me because he just had that medication. So he handles it extremely well. But there are times when post chemo, he does get really tired and just doesn't feel really well. So we divide things up with the animals and chores around the house and that kind of thing. So there are times when I need to make sure he rests. He's not very good at resting. I have to tell him, go rest, go lay down. I mean, he'll be sick as a dog and he'll want to go around and feed the animals or fix something, and I have to say, no, go lay down. So then I do a little bit more than is normally, you know, my share, I hate to say that, but we've got a good division of how we do things. So sometimes, you know, once a month he's getting this done. He's had 2 treatments and he's got 4 more to go. It's a 6-month cycle. They're going to do imaging again in about a month and see where he is. And even if the imaging is clear, you have to complete all 6 months. So over the remaining 4 months of this, there are going to be times when I'm losing a few days worth of whatever, and I just don't have time to do anything. It's more important that he's comfortable and he gets through this, and hopefully this clears it up. But this is something that we're, you know, adjusting to. But again, he's got a great attitude. And for anybody who's curious, probably one of the most healthiest people I have ever met. Endurance athlete. We're both, you know, we both used to compete in athletics. He hasn't competed in a while because work has been keeping him busy, but he likes to cycle, hence the cycling fun, which I've done a horrible job keeping up with. But he's really into cycling. We both eat, you know, as much organic as possible. We do not go out to eat. It's really rare that he might pick up something on the way home, maybe once a month, maybe. We just don't go out to eat. We cook everything. We're very conscious of that. Drink a lot of water, no processed food, all that stuff. But some of this, you know, it runs in his family, and you can't escape your genetics. We've been trying to figure out, well, how in the world does somebody so healthy have this problem? And we just came up with genetics, and the area where he grew up, there's some pollution. And years ago when he was a kid, everybody used to spray that weed killer. I'm not going to mention the name, but just bad chemicals and things that you're around as a child that maybe you can't control, that later on might cause a problem, but there's no definitive cause. So anyway, wrapping it up, that's probably way more than anybody wanted to know and way too long. That is something that I'm dealing with right now. So the floss tubes are a little more difficult for me to film than a tutorial, because I do, you know, hair, you know, for what it is, it's wet today. Hair, makeup, I completely clear an area, I drag everything in, I set everything up, I hang up the quilt. When I film, you know, like tutorials for things like this, I can start and stop. These little houses, I took 2 days to film. They actually took me 2 days to finish, and then I edited the next day. Flosstube is like completely destroy the layout of the room, set everything up. Like I said, hair, makeup, sit down, do that, and then put everything away, and then do the editing. So they're a little bit harder to film, and because I'm missing a little stitchy time at night, I haven't had as much to show for stitching. So that's what's going on. So the floss tubes may be every couple of months. I'd say follow me on Instagram. I'll put it on the screen if you want to see kind of the day-to-day stuff, but I'll do my best to keep track of them. That's it. He is doing well. We had his chemo was last week, and you know, he has it midweek, and it kind of destroys the rest of the week and the weekend, but now he's doing better. He's gone out for a couple bike rides. He starts to feel better. It's very hard, because I think right about the point where you kind of start to kind of feel like you're almost back to normal, it's time to go back into the next treatment, and then it wipes you out again. Hopefully the next 4 months will be okay, and we'll get through it, and he'll get through it. I mean, I'll get through it. I don't have to go through it. I wish there was more I could do for him. That's it. Now I feel like I'm babbling. Okay. At least we got some stuff done. Let me know if you're going to the Jingle Ball, if anybody wants to do like a Zoom or a sit and stitch or something like that. If there's anything in particular you want to see, like if you'd like to see me work one of these finishes, show exactly how I do this, let me know if there's any other type of finish. And watch for a finish for this. And when I do the finish for this, it will be cross stitch finishing, but it'll be something where you can use a cross stitch, a piece of embroidery, a photo. It's going to be something like multi-craft finishing, but I'm just going to happen to use this for it. If you sat through to the end, thank you so much. Information, links, all that stuff below, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the crafts. Hopefully I can film one sooner, but don't be surprised if maybe I'm not back until just before Christmas. Again, please let me know about the Jingle Ball. Leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you need a small, please stop by the shop. Appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.